the introduction to Excel. All right, so with Excel, even if you're a beginner or you're a learner or you're just looking for a way to advance or enhance your skills, this is for you. Also, for those who are also planning to become a data analyst but you just need a fresh start or a basic knowledge about Excel, this is also for you. So stay throughout the course of this video, and I tell you, you're going to benefit and enjoy this video. So before we continue, I would like you all to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and also continue to share my videos. You can also drop a comment. If you have anything to share with us, you can drop it in the comment section. Continue. Alright, so after opening your Excel, this is how it actually looks like, because I'm using Excel 2019. So when you open your Excel, it's looking like this. So right up here is it's actually morning. So Excel 2019, they actually send a greeting when if it's in the afternoon, then it will be good afternoon. Then if it's in the evening, it will be good evening. So that is for this right up here. So on this other hand here, we have the home, we have the new and open. Now this is actually the home. Then the new is if we want to create a new workbook or a blank workbook. That's when you can click on the new. Then the open is if we want to open recent files that we've created and we want to open them. You can click on the open. Then right here is if we want to save our workbook, or if we want to print or share or even to export. This is where you find them here. Good. All right, so on this other hand here are what we call templates. Now we have different templates. We have the billing statement, pressure tracker, expense reports, all of these templates. We also have that to the invoice, sales invoice, and so many templates. So if you need a template, you could just click on this more templates, then you go and search for the templates you want. Even you can also search for templates online. All right, so right here are recent documents we've created here. This is where we can find them. All of these are workbooks that we created and we are done. You just save them and it will come here automatically. So there's also one good thing we can do in Excel, which is pin. Now what is pinning? This right here, this is a pin. If we want to pin this now, you just click on this pin and it will be pinned here. Now why are we pinning? We are pinning because let's say we have the documents we actually work on maybe after 2 days, then we work on it every 2 days, work on it. So we can simply just pin it right here. How do we pin? Just click on this pin icon. Now this is it, it has been pinned. So if I come to pinned, I'm going to find this here. This is what I pinned. So you can actually work with the pin like this, so it will always be at the top. Even if I should save another workbook or another document, it's not going to take this one down. This is just going to be at the top. So I can easily just come into Excel and click on it, then I do what I want to do. So if I want to unpin it, just come here and click. Now I unpinned it. So I'm going back to reset. So now this all of it. So since we are just starting about the basic introduction to Excel, we are just going to be moving to the workbook. So click on this. All right, so now this is our workbook in Excel. Now there are basic things we need to know about this workbook in Excel, which is what we call, we have first the quick access, then we have the tab, the ribbon, the groups, and the rest of that. Now let's start with the quick access. Now what is the quick access? The quick access is this right up here, where we have the save and the redo and the undo button. Now this part is called the quick access because we can actually add any tool there. Then if it's a kind of tool we use all the time and we do not want to come here and start looking for the tool, you can just add it to your quick access. Then you can easily use it from there. Now how do we add to our quick access? You just come to the tool. Let's say we want to add the bold. You just right click on it, then see add to quick access, then I click. Now this is it, it has been added to the quick access. So if I'm working and I just want to use the bold, let's say it is difficult to find, I'm working, I just click on the bold from here. So if we want to remove it from the quick access, you just right click, then you remove from quick access toolbar. It has been removed. Now that is for the quick access. Now coming here is what we call the tab. Now we have the home tab, the insert tab, page layout, and the rest of that. These are the tabs, and on each tab we click, we have a different ribbon. This part is called a ribbon. This part here is called a ribbon. So if you click on the insert tab, it's actually going to change this ribbon. Now this is it. So each tab has its own ribbon. So I'm going back to the home tab. Now, since we now know this is a tab, this is the quick access, this is the ribbon. Now, what do we have also inside the ribbon? We have what we call the groups. Now, how can we know that this is a group? Now, looking at this, it says the clipboard group. Then this line demarcates this group from this group. This part, look at this line, also demarcates this group from this group. So this is the clipboard group, this is the font group, alignment group, number group, styles, cells, editing, and add-ins group. So if we should go to another tab by clicking on this, we're going to see different groups in the ribbon. Alright, so let's continue. Alright, so we just know now that we have the quick access, the tabs, the ribbon, the groups. Now, what we see here is what we call our worksheet. We have our worksheet here. Alright, so now in our worksheet, we have what we call rows and columns. Rows and columns. That is what actually makes up our worksheet. So how do we know that there is a row and there's a column? So from up here down, this is our column. Then like this is our rows. This is our column and this is our row. So when I say column J, I mean like this. And when I say row 5, like this. So this is our column and this is our row. So now the joining of two of the columns and the rows is what gives us the cell. Now what do I mean by that? This part is where this and this meet, which is the column and the row, they meet here. So this part is what we call a cell. If I should click on this, this part is also what we call a cell. Coming here also, this is a cell. So each of these boxes are called a cell. Now each of these cells has a name, just as we all have a name. Just now, that is the same way the cell has a name. So now, how do we know the name of this particular cell? This particular cell now is J4. Now how do we know it's J4? It is on column J and row 4. Now what is the name of this cell? This is D4 on column D and row 4. Now let's say we clicked on this and maybe we do not want to start tracing it Q, then we come here 17. You can just come right up here. This is it, Q17. If I should click on this now, L16. Click on another one, I6. So now we can also move ourselves from here. So let's say we want to go to B2. I'll just highlight this, click on B2, enter. This is it, I'm on B2. So if we want to go to also J11, just click J11, enter. This is it. So when I say let's move to F5, you can simply just come here and type F5 to take you there. Then you can do what you want to do right there. All right, so this is what we need to know. So now also, since I said each of these boxes, which is called a cell, has a name, we also have a name for this. Now this is a range. Now what is a range? A range is a group of cells. Whether it is like this is a range, or it is like this, it is a range, or like this, a range, or even like this, it's a range. So now each of this range has a name. So now let's say what is the name of this range. Now the name of this range is C6 through F13. Now let me make that clear for you. Now it's beginning with C and 6, which is C6. This cell C6, then through, you call the end part F13. Now you're going to pick the first cell, name it, then add through F13. So that is the name of this range. So when I highlight this now and say what is the name of this range, it is J3 through J12. That is the name of this range. Good. All right, so now coming down here is what we have our sheets. You can call it the sheet or the worksheet. So now you can also create more worksheets by clicking on this plus icon. I'm creating another sheet. So let's say this sheet here is where we have, maybe we design the calendar, then this one is maybe where we have our invoice, then the next one is where we have our blood pressure tracker, and different. So we can have different sheets in a workbook. All right, so now this sheet, let's say we want to rename this sheet now, and we want to rename it as learning. Just click on rename, and I'll type in learning. Now this is it. So now this here is, let's rename it also. Okay, this one sheet too, we're now going to rename it as YouTube. Now this is it here. So we just rename this as YouTube. So this is learning and this is YouTube. We can also work on this, like the learning. Now we can change this color to red by just right clicking, tap color red. Now this is it. We can also change this to another color, or we can delete if we want to by right clicking. This is delete. Good. All right, so now let's say for example we're having all of this sheet and we are supposed to be having our YouTube before the learning. You can just click on the YouTube, hold and drag it to this end and leave it. Now you're having the YouTube first, or maybe this second, and leave it here. This is it. So this is all we need to know now about the sheet in our workbook. All right, so still on the introduction to Excel, we are now going to be talking about the zoom, which we have just here. Now this is the zoom. You can actually zoom out or you can zoom in. So I'm just going to leave it this way. Let me zoom in a little, which is 166%. This is it here. All right, so I'm just going to zoom like this. Now this is it. All right, so now let's see how we can insert some data and work with our data in Excel. All right, so now let's see, I'll be having some thing here. Just double click, then I'll be having something. Okay. All right, so now let's say we're having this. YouTube is for everyone. Now if you are looking at this, I was actually typing on cell A1 and it's now looking like it's moving over to cell B2. I tell you, it is not like that. So if you look at it that way, you might get confused. So it is still on cell A1, but because what I'm typing is actually long, so for me to see it, that is why it is looking like it's moving to cell B2 and also cell B1 and cell C1. Okay, but it is still on cell A1. Now how are we sure? I'm just going to click somewhere else. Now when I click on this is it right here. So now how do we know that this text is still here? When I click on this, look at it right here. YouTube is for everyone. It is still there. It is just looking like it's on cell B1, which means it is not even there. So now if I click on this and I have something else, now look at it. We're now typing on cell B1 and it's looking like it's moving over to cell C1. So I tell you it is not. So now what do we need to do? Maybe so as we can bring out our text which was on cell A1, you can just come right here and double click. You click twice and this is it. You can also click here, hold and drag. Now this is it. So what we're writing was actually on cell A1 and this was actually on cell B1. So it should not get you confused. All right, so if you guys actually enjoy my video, you can actually hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and also drop a message for me in the comment section. Tell me how you feel about the video because I know you are really enjoying it. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so now let's say we want to input some data, like we want to have months of the year. So I'll be having January 1st, January. The next one will be February. So how do I move from this cell to this cell? All I have to do is to click on enter. Now this is it. If I should click on enter, it keeps going down. So how about I want to go back up? You just hold your shift and enter. It's going up. So now I want to move sideways, which is I want to move from cell A2 to cell B2. You just click on your tab on your keyboard. This is it. So now if we want to go back, you hold your shift and click on tab. It keeps going backward. So holding your shift is going the opposite direction when you are not holding the shift. All right, so like I was saying, we are going to be having some data there. So I'll come down here. I'll have February. All right, so now I do not want to keep typing down to December because it's going to take me a lot of time. So all I have to do now is to click on the first one, hold it and drag. Now I'm going to be highlighting both. I'm highlighting both. Remember, I'm highlighting both. Then I just click here, this little box here, click and drag down to December. Now, if you're looking beside it, which is here, you'll be seeing it. This is October, August, July, June, and the rest of that. So I'm just going to drag it down to December. So if I should continue, it's going to start again. You see this? This is where it stops. December. Then here it starts again January. So I'm just going to stop here December. Now this is it. I'm not having all of this here. So this is a simple trick on how we can actually have written down or have our months of the year quickly written instead of us to be typing it. So now if we do not highlight the January and the February and we want to drag this, it will not work. I tell you, it will not work. All right, so now let's see how we can use the numbers. Let's have 1 here, we have 2. Now I just highlight these 2, come here, hold and drag. It keeps going down. But in a case whereby we just highlighted 1 and we drag it, we just highlighted one of the cell and then we drag it, we're just going to be having repeated number there. So we can also do the same thing from Monday to Friday. So I'm going to allow you guys to try that on your own. Okay, so now let's continue. All right, so now this cell, let's say we now want to start maybe applying our colors, making it bold, aligning it and the rest of that. What do we need to do now? I'm just going to click on this. For instance, let's say I want to make this bold. I click on it, come straight to my bold here and click. Now this is actually bold. So we can also do the same thing for the rest of this. If we want to make it bold, you just click on it and come straight to bold. Now let's say we want to make this our February italic, which is shortcut is Control I. I just click on it and come here, italic. Now this is it. So the March, you can underline it by clicking on the underline. Now this is it. So this is some of the ways you can actually work with it. So now how about we want to change the fonts and also the size? Then this is what we call the borders. So now let's change the font for this one. Just click on this, come here, see all the fonts, then I can just select this one. You can change the fonts. So we want to increase the size, you can increase it from here or from here. So I can increase this to 20 or I can even reduce it, whichever one I want. Okay, so now this border, how can we apply this border? Let's say we want to have a border on this range C3 through G4. We want to have a border on this, so just come here, click on this and I'll click on all border. Now this is it, all border. If I want to remove the border, I'll come right there and no border, it's gone. So that is how we can apply that. So now let's see how we can now make use of the colors. That is giving our cell a color and also our text a color. So we are going to be giving this cell a color. I'll come here, I can select any color. So let me give it this color. Then our text, this is for our text. I'll click on this. Let's say I'll make it yellow. Good. Now this is how we can actually give our cell a color and also our text. All right, coming back to our group, there was something I didn't actually tell you guys about, which is this little icon here. Now this is what I call the extension. Now why do we have this extension here? We have this here because Excel, the tools you find in this group, which is the clipboard group, all of the tools cannot actually fit in here. So that is why we have this extension. Same thing with the font group. All of the tools cannot fit in. That's why we have this here. But it's not all group that actually have this, because all the tools can fit in that group. Now, like these cells, the cells group, you see it does not have an extension. Also that of the styles, because all the tools concerning the styles can fit in here. So whichever group you see having this extension, it's because the tools cannot fit in here. So when I click on this, it's now going to open more tools concerning the fonts. All right, so it's going to open. Okay, I think it's loading. All right, so now this is it here. So all of these cannot actually fit in this group. That is why Excel have this right here, which you can click on and it opens up. Now that is for it. Okay, now coming to this clipboard group. Now the clipboard group, we have the copy, we have the paste, we have the format painter. Now let's see how we can use all of these tools right here. Now starting with the copy, let's say I want to copy this. Now the shortcut is Ctrl C, or you can come here and click on copy. Now when I hover on it, you see the shortcut Ctrl C. So I want to copy this, Ctrl C to copy. Then I want to paste it. Now I'm just going to go to another cell and Ctrl V. Now it has pasted it. So this is how we can work with our copy and also our paste. Now how about our cuts? How can we work with our cut? Now I'm going to cut this right here. Now how do we cut this? Just Ctrl X is to cut, or you click on this scissors icon. Now cut. Now I want to paste it here, and now paste, Ctrl V. Now this is it. So now it's no longer here. So that is the work of the cuts. The copy and the cuts they almost do the same thing. Now with the copy, you can still duplicate that same cell you are copying or whatever you are copying. But with the cut, it's going to take it away from that position and put it wherever you paste it. That is for the cut. Now how about the format painter? Now with the format painter, you can copy all the effects and all the styles we're having on a particular text or cell or even a range. Now how can we do that? So let's see this. Now I want to copy the format for this and apply it on this July. All I have to do now is this. I'll come to the format painter. Now I copy this, then I'll come here. All right, let me click on it again. Format painter, I've copied this. Now I'll come here and I'll paste it. How does it work again? I'm going to copy this with the format and then come here, click, and to paste it. So that is how we can work with our format painter. All right, so still on the introduction to Excel, which is still comprising of the basics you need to know in Excel, we are now going to be talking about the alignment. Now how can we make use of the alignment, which is this right here? Now let's say we're having something like this. Now let me increase this. Good. Now we want to work with the alignment here. So this right here is to align to the top. So I'll click on this. If I click on this top, it goes to the top. Now if I click on the middle, this is it here, and this is the bottom. That is for the alignment. Now how about we want to align to the left? This is it. Want to align to the right? This is it. Want to align to the middle? This is it. So when we want to align this text now to the middle of this cell, that should be at the center of this cell, you can click on this and also click on this. Now it is aligned at the center of this cell. So that is how we can work with our alignment. So how about now we want to tilt this text here? That is when we can come here, click on this, and then we can tilt it. Maybe angle clockwise. This is it. So I'm just going to open this. Now you can also turn it, even the vertical text, or even that of any of this you can use. So I'm just going to go back to this. Now this is it. This is how we can work with the tilting. All right, so now this is what we call the indent. Now how can we use the indent? If I should click on this cell, for example, and I click on this, now it's going to it's kind of like creating a paragraph. That is for the indent. So if I want to take it back, I'll just click on this and it takes it back. That is for the indent. All right, so I also want to tell you guys about this wrap text, because it's also important if we know about this wrap text. Now, how can we make use of this wrap text? Let's say we're having this now. Let me add some. Okay, let me use this instead. Now let me reduce this. Okay, so now we want to apply the wrap text here. Now if you are looking at this, it's on cell B1, but it's looking like it's moving to cell C1. So using the wrap text allows you to wrap everything, all the text here, it will wrap it so it can actually fit in this. Now if I click on this, come to the wrap text and I click, now this is it. So if I should keep typing, it's instead of moving to looking like it's moving to the next cell, it is just coming down. So when you see a text moving to another cell, it is not real, it's just an illusion. So you can just simply use a wrap text and it keeps coming down. So that is how you can make use of the wrap text. Now how about merge and center? For instance, we're having a title. We want to have a title at the top of our worksheet, so you can actually use the merge and center. Now let me quickly create something. Let's say this is now going to be the title. Highlight all of this, click on merge and center. Now with the merge and center, it's going to merge all of these cells to become a cell. If I click on this, now see it has merged all of these cells together. So if I should come here now and start typing, learn digital skills, now it's actually going to be, if I should keep typing, it's going to be on all of this merge and center, it's going to be on it. So it should just keep going, keep going, keep going. So now that is how we can work with the merge and center. So we can also increase it just as we discussed earlier. Also then you can work with the alignments. Good. So now this is for that. So now let's say in the process of maybe inputting some of our data, we now want to insert an image. You can just simply come to the insert, then you see the pictures here, you click on pictures, then from this device or online pictures. Also if you want to insert a shape, you can come right here to this shape and click, then you can add any shape. Now look at all the shapes. So now how can we add a shape? You can just simply click on this, for example, then come here. All right, let me, okay, so now this is it. You can just simply click on here and drag any shape. So if I want to align this shape properly, now I can just hold my shift and it's going to be perfect. So no matter how I drag it, it's still going to apply the same shape. So if I should move my hand from the shift, then I can move it whichever way I want. I'm just going to hold my shift and then click. So now if we want to now change the color for this, you can simply come to the shape format. We're now trying to format the shape. This is it. So you can apply the shape fill or even that of the outline. Then you can also apply some effects, apply shadow, glue, preset, and all of this. All right, so now this is for word styles. If you want any of this style, you can select. All right, so let's say you want to apply the styles on a text, then you just click on it, then come to insert, then you see this text, you click on text and word art. Now this is it. So remember I was telling you guys about quick access, so you can actually add this to your quick access. Instead of coming through this whole process, you just right click, add to quick access, and this is it here. So you can just click on this now and select any of this to use your text here. This is if you want to add the text here. All right, so now you can actually type here if you choose to type. You can actually have the text here, have whatsoever you want to have in here, and then you can actually reduce it if you choose to. You can reduce it. That is for that. All right, so now coming to the rest of these tabs, this is for the page layout. If we want to actually work with our pages, which is the margins, the orientation, the size, the print, and all of this. So we are going to be talking about most of this in our next video, so you can actually stay updated for that. And also do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, you can drop whatever you have on the comment section. If you have a question, you can drop it in the comment section. So now, this is for this if you want to add a shape or a picture. All right, so now this is what we are going to be talking about in the basic introduction to Excel. Data entry in Excel. All right, so now I'm just going to get out some datas and we can now see how we can work with them. That is the data entry here in Excel. So I'll be right back. All right, so we are now having this data in Excel here. So now we are going to see how we can now work with the data entry. So it has a step we need to follow. Now first, what we have to do now is to convert this our worksheet to a table. So now how do we do that? Just click anywhere in the cell here, then you come here, format as table. You click on this, then you can select any type. So I'm just going to be using this one. Then you click OK. Good, now this is it. It has formatted this to a table. So now what we need to do now is to begin our data entry. So where do we go to get our data entry? So right, so what we are going to do now is to we are going to see how we can work with the data entry using the form. So all you have to do after this now is to come right up here. This is the quick access. We discussed this in the introduction to Excel, which is where we can actually access our tools we seldomly use easily. So you just come here now. We want to customize a tool. You come here, you come right down here to more commands because we need the form tool. So click on the more commands, then you come here where you see these popular commands because the tool is not actually a popular command. So you click on it and you see commands not in the ribbon. So you click on it, then you come down, scroll down. We are looking for form. So when you see form, you just let me know. Okay, we're going down. Good, we've seen the form. So you just click on the form and you click on add. Good. Now if you watch, all these here are tools that you can find up here, the quick access. So whichever tool I click and I click on this add, is going to add it here. So if I want to remove it, you just click on it and click on the remove right here and you can remove it. So I just added the form, then after that I just click on OK. All right, so now this is it here. This is the form right here. All right, so you remember what we did here? That is creating or formatting a table. So the next thing is to add your form to the quick access so that you can easily access it. So now we are now going to click on the form. Good. Now if you watch here, this is one of 8, which is to say we are having 8 numbers of persons in that company, because we are trying to get the number of people in a company, their position or their department, then their names, their number and the date. So we are now going to see how we can work with the data entry here. All right, so this is the first one, Gabriel Onka, manager. This is the date and this is the ID number. So let's say we want to create a new one, which is for this new right here. All you just have to do is to click on new. Then we are now going to give the first one a name. Let's say we are going to be giving this one David. Then the next we have Martins. Then the next one, the date. All right, so now the ID number, we are going to be giving David Martins the ID number. So let's say the ID number is 3445. All right, so this is it. So when we are done with this, all you just have to do now is to hit enter. Good. So now if we should come here, let me close this for instance. If we should scroll down here, now this is it here. We just added this David Martins. This is the date and this is the ID number. So this is one easy way you can actually insert your data. So maybe you're having about 200 staffs in a company, so you can actually do it this way. All right, so let's go back there. Let's see some other tools we can do there. Click on it. Now if you watch this, the next one, which is the delete, that is if you want to delete any of this person. Maybe the person had a leave, or maybe the person no longer work in your company. You can actually delete it by just clicking on the delete, and it deletes. All right, now talking about the restore, let's see how we can work with the restore. Let's say, for example, Gabriel Wonka left the manager. Maybe he was the CEO of the company. All right, so now let's say you made, maybe it's a mistake in the process, you made it the position the CEO. So all you just have to do right here now, if you want to take it back to the manager which it was on, then you just click on the restore, and it goes back to the manager. So that is for the restore. So now this is for the find preview. The find preview is for you to actually go back. We're on Gabriel Wonka. If you want to move to the next one, or to the preview, that is when you can click on this find preview. So the find next is to go forward. You see the next one, Courage Obafemi. This is it. Now if you come here, this is it here. After Gabriel Wonka, the next one is Courage Obafemi. All right, so you can click find next, and you can keep going. Then this is to find preview to go backwards. Then this is to go forward. All right, so that is how we can work with most of this writing. So lastly, before we are done with the data entry in Excel, we are now going to see what this criteria means. Now the criteria actually helps if we want to find a person, if we are looking for a particular person in Excel. I mean, now let me use manager, hit enter. Now this is it, manager right here. So let's say we don't want to insert let's say sales, hit enter. Now this is the sales, David James. So he's number 4 out of the 9, David James. So if you also need to find any other person, you can just click. You can also search the person by their name, or the date, or the ID number. So this is how you can actually find a person in your Excel using the data entry. So last year is where we have the close. So you all know what it's used for. To just close this. Now, this is it. Work with our worksheets in Excel. So, all right. So this is our worksheet which we have right here. Sorry, I'm just going to do this. All right, this is our worksheet which we have here. So now down here are different sheets. So let's see how we can actually insert or create more sheets. You can simply click on this plus icon here, or you right click on this, come to insert, and then you see worksheet which has been selected already. You can also insert a chart, also the rest of this. Then click on the worksheet, and okay, good, this is it. We just inserted a worksheet. So you can click more on this, or you right click, come to insert, and then worksheets. Okay, so this is how you can actually create or insert a worksheet in Microsoft Excel. All right, so let's say we want to rename our worksheets. This is what you have to do. Right click on this, come right straight to rename, and then you can name it. All right, so let's say we're going to be naming them the days of the week. So let's go. We're having this as Monday. Come here. We're having this as Tuesday, and Wednesday. I hope you're also doing the same thing. Thursday, Friday. All right, we're just going to stop here. Good. All right. So let's say we now, after renaming, then in the process of renaming, we did more than expected. Then we want to delete it. You just come there. Let's say we want to delete the Friday. You right click on it and come straight to delete. Then delete it. Good. So this is how you can now rename, also to delete. Okay, so how about we are now trying to move or copy our worksheets. Now, what do I mean by move or copy? Let's say on Monday, we're having something like this here. Okay, so I'm just going to be changing it to this color. and then the fill. All right, so let's say we're having this for Monday, and then we want to copy this on another sheet. You right click, it comes to move or copy. Then you click on create a copy. I want to create a copy of Monday. If I want to create a copy for Tuesday, I can also click on that. Then I click OK. Then this is it here. Now we have the Monday. I will also have this Monday now. This is the second one, which you are seeing these two in bracket here. That is to say, it is the second Monday which was copied. So if we come to this Monday, the first one here, we are also going to be seeing the same thing. Also, this the same thing. So what we did was we copied the worksheet. That is why you are having this. So this is how we can actually move or copy our worksheets. All right, so let's see some other thing we can actually do in Excel. Let's see how we can actually change the tab color. What do I mean by the tab color? This right here. So let's say we want to change the color for this. You right click. This is tab color. Then let's say we're changing it to red. This is it red. So come here, you right click, tab color. Let's change this to yellow. Come here, right click. You change this to some other color. So you can change for all of them. Change for all of them. Good. Believing you've all done that. So this is how you can actually change the tab color for your worksheet. So changing it this way, sometimes it's actually better. Why do I say it's better? So that you can actually differentiate them by their color. So at first they were actually having the same color. So having a tab color on each of the worksheets makes it different and you can easily identify whichever one. How about we want to hide the worksheets? Now, let's say we want to hide this Thursday. Right click, come to hide, you click on hide. Now, it has been hidden. The Thursday has been hidden. So let's say we now want to unhide. You come to unhide, you click for Thursday and then hit OK. Now, this is it here. It's out. Now, let me do it one more time. Come there to any of the tab you want to hide. You right click, you see hide, you click on hide. Now, it's hidden. All right, so we now want to unhide it. You just click on any of the tab, right click on any, you see unhide, you click, and then the Monday, click OK. Now it's out. So maybe you are having so many data on different worksheets and you do not want to actually share the data on a particular worksheet. You can simply hide it. Then when you are done sharing it to others, you can then hide it. So that's how you can actually work with the hiding and the hiding. Basic formulas in Excel. Basic formulas such as the addition, the subtraction, division, and the multiplication. And we are going to see how we can actually apply that. We'll just be handling some exercises. All right, so that is what we are going to be doing today. All right, so basic formulas in Excel. Now, the basic formulas we are going to be talking about today is the addition, the subtraction, division, and the multiplication. All right, now let's start with the addition. Now, how can we use the addition? Okay, first we are going to be having our equal to. Good. Now, when you have your equal to, you click on the first number. This, then you put in the plus, hold your shift and click the equal to. There you have the plus. Then you click on the other number. Good. Then you can just simply hit your enter. If you're having more than three of these, you can simply add them by clicking or adding the plus icon, then click on the next number. All right, so after having this, you just click enter. Now this is it. So we just added this and this is the answer. Now how about the subtraction? First equal to. Now in the basic formulas, when you're trying to add or use any of these formulas, the first thing you need to do is to put in your equal to sign. So I just put in the equal to, you click on any of the number first, then put in the subtraction sign and click on the next one, then hit your enter. Good. So this is it. Now moving to the division. How can we now work with the division? We are only used to the addition and the subtraction, but now the division and multiplication, sometimes it's complicated. So how can we actually use this? It's very simple. So let's go. You just bring in your equal to first, then you click on the first one. Now the division is this icon here. Good. This is it. Forward slash, that is for the division. Then you hit on the next number and you hit your enter. Good. Now the multiplication. First the equal to, then click on the first number. Then now what sign is the multiplication? Just hold your shift key and click on 8, number 8 there. Good. Now this is the multiplication sign. Then you hit on the next number. This is it. Then you hit enter. Now this is it. This is just so easy for us to understand. The addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. First, you just need to bring out your equal to, then you can now tap or click on your numbers. All right, so now let's see how we can actually apply it here. First, we are seeing the product sold. Now, the next one is additional product. That is to say, the product sold plus the additional product. That means they added 34 to the product sold. So that means we're going to be adding these two together. So we'll come here now. Good. We put our equal to first. Then we click on this. Now, additional products. We're going to be adding the plus icon. Good. You click on the next one. Now, removed product, that is to say there is a minus, removed, that is taken out. So they took out 12. So that means we are now going to be putting in our minus. Then hit on the next one. Good. Then warehouses sent equally to 4 different warehouses. That is to say there's going to be a division there to 4 different warehouses equally. So I'm going to put in my division and click on the next one. Good. Now after doing this, you just hit your enter. Good. Now this is our answer. Now we did the product sold, we added it with the additional product, then we removed some products and then we divided it by 4 because they are sending it to 4 different warehouses. So this is how we can actually use the basic formulas. And note, when you're trying to work with any of these or you're trying to use the formulas, first you need to put in your equal to. Now, if you don't put in your equal to, it's not going to work.
Cell referencing in Microsoft Excel. Now we all need to learn this cell referencing because if we actually want to have a knowledge about Excel, or should I say a basic or advanced knowledge about Excel, we need to understand cell referencing. So, all right, so this course today is going to take us through the step-by-step process in which we can actually understand cell referencing in Excel. All right, so now we have the several types of cell referencing. We have the relative reference, we also have the absolute reference, and the mixed reference. So that's what we are going to be discussing today. All right, so if you are not having a Microsoft Office, or maybe your Microsoft Office is out of date and you need to get a new one, and in fact you do not know how to do that, you can just send me a DM. I'll be dropping my X, which was formerly the Twitter handle, on my description. So you can just send me a message there. Then I'm going to assist you on how you can install it for free. All right. So we are going to be discussing about the cell reference in Excel. So without waste of time, let's get started. All right. So we are going to be beginning with the relative reference in Excel. Now, how can we go about the relative reference? We have the year, the revenue, and the expense. So now we want to get the income. Now, first, what we can actually do here is now we can just put in our equal to sign. Good. Equal to. Then we have the B2, sorry, we have the B3 and we have the C3. Now we want to minus this from the B3, minus this. Now we put in our enter. All right, so now when it's actually showing something like this, all you just have to do is to come right up here. Remember, in the introduction to Excel, we talked about this. You can just click twice or you move it. So I'm just going to be clicking twice. All right, good. So now this is it. It actually opens it. Now, what we can actually do if we want to get for the rest is just to come to this little box here. See this little box here, you click down. Good, then it will actually give you all of this. Okay, so now why it's actually having this bracket here is because of this dollar sign. So that's why it's having the bracket. Now this is how we can actually work with the relative reference in Excel. Now if we want to now actually make this more easier, like for instance we're having so many, maybe up to 500 in our columns, and we want to have our relative reference on all of them. This is the shortcut on how we can do just that. Now, first you highlight all of your cells. After highlighting it, you put your equal to sign, and then you can simply click on this first minus this. Oh, sorry, this minus this. Good. Now, before you hit your enter key, all you have to do now is you just click on Control, then you can now hit your enter. Now, this is it. Now, it will now give you the total income for all of the cells. So now this is the shortcut on how we can actually have something like this. Now we are done with the relative reference. Now let's move to the next one, which is the absolute reference. Now this is the absolute reference. Now we are going to see how we can work with the absolute reference.
Right, so now how can we now work with the absolute reference? So now this is what we are going to do. We are going to be dividing this by this. Now how do we do that? Put in your equal to, then you can simply click on this, divide. This is your divide sign, and then I will click it on this. Then when I'm done with that, I just click my enter. Now I'm going to do the same thing for all of that by just coming here, click and drag down. Now this is it. So now if we should actually calculate this very well, we're trying to get the percentage of this, we'll notice that it is not actually correct. If we are to get this, it's not actually correct. So now how do I mean it's not actually correct? What I wanted to do is getting 85, which is for good, divided by 100, then 65, which is for treasure, divided by 100, then same thing with Paul and the rest of that. But instead of that, it is doing otherwise. Now let me double click here so we can see what it's actually doing. Now you see this B16 divided by B15. Now it's dividing this by this. If I should come to this one now, click twice, it's dividing this by this. But instead, I want the number to be B14. Now each of these divided by the average score. Now how can we now work on this to actually fix it? All we have to do now is we are going to be locking the number we use for the first one. Now you just come to your first percent, then double click. Now this is B14. Now the B14 is for our average score, so we are going to be locking this B14 so as it's going to affect all of them. So now how can we lock this? Just simply click on your F4 on your keyboard. Now when you click on your F4, this is how it's going to be like. This is how it looks like. Now where you'll be having the dollar sign, the B is in between the dollar sign and the 14 is there. All right, so when we are done with this, just click on enter, and now this is it. We've locked this one. So now let's now apply it to all of this. We can just now come here, click and drag it down. Now it has corrected all of it. So now this is how we can actually work with our absolute reference. Now finally, let's move to our mixed reference. So we are just going to be multiplying. Now we're going to be multiplying A27 and B25 to get our answer here. Also C25 and A28 to get our answer. All right, so now this is how we're just going to be doing it. Now we'll click on the cell where we want our answer to be. Now this is it, where this and this actually meet. So I'll just put it there and put in my equal to. Now after putting in my equal to, I'll click on this and then click on my multiplication sign, which is my shift and number 8. Now this is it. Then I click here and then I hit my enter on my keyboard. Now I've gotten this. So now let's say I want to get for the rest of this. Maybe you could now come here and drag down. Good, you can now actually get something like this. But if you note, the answer is not actually correct. Now if we're multiplying 30 by 10, it's actually supposed to be giving us 30, but it's giving us 0. Now that means we need to lock both our columns and our row for us to get this. Now we are going to see how we can do that. It's very easy. Just follow it step by step. All right, so now how are we going to be doing that? Now I'm just going to be deleting this, and I'll come here. Now first I'll put in my equal to sign. Sorry. Now after putting in your equal to sign, then I'm going to be clicking on this. Now when I click on this, it's now time for me to now lock it. All right, so now why am I locking it? I'm locking it so that it can actually be multiplying this same on the rest of the cells. That is for the also the B28, B29, and the rest of that. All right, so now I'm going to be locking out. How do we lock it? By just clicking on F4. Just click on F4 on your keyboard. Sorry, not this. This is it. F4. Good. Now, when you click on F4, it's actually going to be having a dollar sign, then a dollar sign, and 27. No, we are now going to be leaving it at it should be having a dollar sign, then you have A27. Now, click on your F4 again. Good. Then click on it again. Now, this is what we want. We want the dollar sign, then we want A27. Now, why did we choose this particular one? Because if we had to try the other ones, you can also try it. If you have to try it, it's not going to really work. It's not going to work. So we need the dollar sign first, then we need A27. If you cannot actually be doing this long process, if you have it, or if you can just keep remembering it, you could just put in the dollar sign first, then put in your A27. Now it's now time for us to now add our multiplication sign by clicking on your shift and 8. Good. Now we've added it. So now we are now going to be multiplying it by this, which is the B25. Just click on it. Now when you put in the B25, what we want here is now the B, then the dollar sign, then 25. Now how do we do that? It's by locking it. So you click on F4, click on it again. Good. Now this is it. So now when you've done this, just know that you've locked both your column and your row for all of this. Then just hit your enter. Now this is it. So now let's try it by coming to this little box here. Click and drag down. Good. Now this is it. So now let's do for the rest of this by clicking here and dragging to the end here. Exactly. So now this is just for the mixed reference. Now just follow the step-by-step process. Now you put in your sign first, then you lock it, which is what I mean by putting in not the sign though, but your cell, which is the 27, this one here, the A27. This was what I used here. I put my equal to first, then click on this, I lock it. After locking it, you put in your multiplication sign, and then you click on the next one, and then you also lock that one, then hit your enter. Now this is how we can actually walk through the mixed reference in Excel. All right, so now basically we just discussed about the three referencing in Microsoft Excel. Now these are the ways we can actually work with our cell reference. Sorting in Excel. How can we sort our data in Excel? What do I mean by sorting? That means arranging our data from A to Z or from Z to A. Also, we're going to see how we can sort by colors and so many others. All right, so stay till the end of this video, and you're going to see how you can be able to master all of this in just few minutes. All right, guys, so without waste of time, let's dive in. Okay, so now what do we need to do when it comes to sorting? Sometimes you might be having a data where we want to arrange it alphabetically. Now what do we need to do? Now if we want to arrange this data alphabetically, we want it from A down to Z, you just click anywhere on this data. Now we are clicking anywhere here just because we want to sort all of this. But if we should click outside here, now let's try it. Let's see what will happen here. I'm clicking outside here, then I come straight here and I click on sort A to Z. Now this is going to pop up saying this can't be applied. So what do we need to do now? We should click anywhere on our data, come straight to the sorting, and then you can sort from A to Z. Now this is it, starting from Abdul down to Usman. All right, so now this is how we can actually sort this way. Good. So now let's see some other way we can sort. We can also sort from Z down to A by just clicking here, and it will sort it from Z to A. Now there's one amazing thing that Excel actually does here. Now if you notice, it's not actually affecting this at the top here. Now Excel knows that this is our header. So now it's not going to actually merge our header to this. Now we are going to see how we can actually remove this from being the header, and Excel can actually affect it when it comes to the sorting. We're going to see that. All right, so this is how we can now do this. Now let's say, for instance, we want to add some text here. Let me just copy some of this. Now let's say we want to add some of this here. I'll paste it here. Good. Now we want to add some of this. We just added this one here, and we do not want this to be among the sorting. Let's say we're just writing some random names here, though it's not going to be among the sorting. Now if we should click on any of this here and come straight to sorting and sort from A to Z, now it's actually going to be affecting this. You see this here? It's going to affect it. But whereby we do not want it to affect it, what we need to do is we are going to remove this from here. We are going to skip one of this. Like we are skipping this, coming here, highlight this and paste. Good. So now when we come to this, our data here, we come straight to the sort and fill. We click on this. Now this is it. It's not going to be affecting this. Now when I click on this number, I come to my sort and fill. You see this is going to change from smallest to largest. That is from the smallest number to the largest. If I also click on this, come to my sort and fill, smallest to largest. So when it comes to numbers, it is actually smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Then when it comes to alphabets, it is sorts from A to Z. So now when I click on this, you see this, it's not affecting this now because I skipped one of these cells. I skipped it. All right, so now this is how we can actually do this. Now let's be sure that this is actually sorting properly. Now I'm going to be highlighting all of this here, then come here to give it background fill. Now this is it. So now let's see if it's actually this IMA, the Chelsea 11.2 are still going to be together. Now we'll come here, let's sort it from Z to A, click on it. Now you see this, they are still together. So when you click on any of the cell here, don't think it's just going to be sorting these cells, then this one is going to maybe just be the way it is, but they are all moving together. So that is for the sorting. All right, so now let's now see how we can sort with colors. I'm just going to come here. Good. Let's see how we can sort with colors. Now, when it comes to sorting with colors, we are going to be using the advanced sorting. Just come straight to your data. Now, this is the sort. I'll click on this. Good. This is going to pop up. Now, I'm going to be sorting the theme. I'll just come here, click on this. As you can see, these are my data. You see them, the headers. Look at them here. The name, theme, point, age, and gender. You can see them here. So let's say I want to sort by theme. I'll click on the theme. Then the cell color, I'll be sorting by cell color. We have the cell values, we have the font color. So I'll be sorting by cell color. Then this is the cell color, or let me change it to this one. I want it to be on top. It's either on top or on the bottom. All right, so I want it to be on top. Then I'll just hit OK. Now this is it, it's on top. So I just sorted this by color. So now how can we now rearrange all of this so as after this next color should come out, followed by the next and the next color. Just come straight back to the sort. We come to this, we've arranged this already, so we can add a level. That was what I did here by adding this level. Click on the add level again. I'm adding the third one. This is it here. I'll sort it by theme, cell color, then okay, this will be the next color. Good. So now this color is going to come first, followed by this, then this before the last one. So when I hit OK now, note all of these colors, you're going to see it. So I hit OK. Now this is it. This is the first one, the second one, the third color, and the last one. So this is how we can actually sort with colors. Now let's say we do not have an header. We don't have the header here. Come back to the sort. Now we can actually check uncheck this. Now when I uncheck this and click on OK, see this. Now we do not have any header here. So it's just like we added the header to all of this data here. So now we can actually input back the data. I'm just going to go back, Ctrl Z. Good. Now this is it. So when we want to remove our data, you come to the sort, the header rather, you come and uncheck this. So this is just how I want it to be. All right. How we can actually insert, edit, and format our charts in Microsoft Excel. All right. So now, what does it mean to actually be using a chart? That means you wish to analyze your data in Excel. We are now going to see how we can insert, edit, and format our charts in Excel. Now, let's begin. All right, first, now for us to insert our charts, first we just need to highlight the data we want to use for our charts. Now, I'll be using from here down to this, the December. Then I'll go straight to insert. Then when I click on insert, then you see the charts here. You see the recommended charts first. Then you see other charts. Now, this recommended chart is like Excel is actually recommending a chart for us to use. Then if I just click on this, I'll see some numbers of charts we can actually use. So first, let's say I want to use the line chart. Click on it, then I'll come straight to OK and click. Now this is it. So this is how we can actually pick a chart from the recommended charts in Excel. All right, let's say we do not want to use this now instead. So I'm just going to be deleting this. I'll be using another one. I'll come back straight to my insert. Then here I'll see some other charts here. All right, let me come to the first one here, which is the insert column or bar chart. I'll just click on it. Now you see we have the 2D charts, we have the 3D, we have the 2D bar and the 3D bar. So all of these are different charts we can use. So if we want to use anyone, like I said earlier, all you have to do is you just click on it and then you've inserted it. Now let's see some other charts we can actually use. I'll be deleting this too. Then I'll come back straight to my insert. Now, mind you, while I'm going back to my insert, this is still selected. I'm not unselecting it. So I'll come back to my insert. Then now, let's try this one. You see this? See, we can use the different kind of pie chart. We have the 3D pie, we have the donuts, and all of this. So we can use whichever one we want to use. So when we come here to, anyone you click on, you see the different types. So you can actually select anyone you wish to use, or you can choose to go for the recommended charts. All right, so these are just all of the charts here. All right, so now I'll prefer to go for the recommended charts. Let me be using the line charts. Then I just click on OK. Good. Now this is the line charts. All right, now so looking at this is just from January down to December. So let's see how we can actually format this and apply it on the charts. Now first, let's say for instance the January it's 700. Now I actually want to change it back to 500. All I have to do now is to come here, double click, and I'll be changing this to 500. Then I click somewhere else. Now this is it. It just dropped to 500. Now how about I want to increase it? You can increase any other one. So now this, let's say I want to increase this. I'll be changing this to 700. Now this is it. It just increased. So this is also the months. If I decide to change a month, maybe January, I decide to change it. When I change it, it's actually going to affect it right here. So any changes I make on my data is actually going to be affecting my charts. All right, now talking about the sales here, this is the chart title. We want to now format the chart title. We don't want this here. We want the business charts. So all we have to do is click on it and be changing it right to business charts. Now this is how we can actually format the title for our charts. All right, now still on this, now we can actually see from January down to December. How about we just want to see 3 first months and also 3 last months? The 3 first months, I hold my control and highlight the 3 last months. Then I hit enter. I highlight the 3 first months and the 3 last months. Then I'll come to my inserts, come to my charts. Let's say I want to be using this, and then I hit this one. Now you see this January, February, March, then October, November, and December. So we can actually highlight a particular chart. Maybe we want to just see how far our chart is going or how far the sales is going. You can just highlight a particular chart, then you go straight to your insert and add it up. Now that is just how we can actually go about highlighting a part in our data. Now for instance, we don't want to use these charts. We want to actually change this chart. Now all we have to do is first click on it. Then you come right here under your chart design tab. You see the change chart type. You click on it. Now you see this. All these are the different charts we can actually use. So you must have been used to these common charts, which are the column, line, pie, the bar charts. These are the most common or most used charts we know about. So we can see so many other charts we can actually use. We have the sunburst, even that of the histogram. So all of these are different charts we can actually use. Now let's say we want to change this. Now we would like to use this, or even this, or this. So whichever one you want to use. So I'll prefer to use this line with markers. Then all I have to do is to click on OK. You can also decide to use even the pie chart by clicking on it, or any of these 3D or even the 2D. You can choose to use any one. So I'm just going to be using the line, then I'll be using the line with markers. Then I just click OK. Now this is it. I just inserted it here. Alright, so now this is just how we can actually go about in arranging or inserting our charts. How about we now want to format our charts? Now, looking at this plus icon, this is the chart element where you can add or remove some chart elements. Now, when I click on this, for instance, you see this axis. Now, when I uncheck this, it's actually going to remove something from this. Now, look at the chart very well, and I'm going to uncheck this now. Good. Now, I just unchecked it. Now, it removed the axis here. So how about I check it back? Now it brings it back. So I can add any of this. Let's say I want to add the data table. I'll just click on it. Now this is the data table down here. So I do not need this, so I'm going to remove it. Okay, how about I need the data labels? I can just click on this. All right, I feel I need to use this data labels, so I'm just going to leave it here. All right, so now this is how you can actually add some chart elements. Now the next one is chart styles. I'll be clicking on my chart styles. Now these are my different chart styles I can use. I can decide to use any one of my choice. So I don't know which you prefer to use, so you can actually use any one of your choice here. So let's say I want to use this. All I have to do is just click on it, and then it has been inserted. So instead of having the sales lined up here, now I'm having it on every brick in my charts. Now that is just for the chart styles. Now we also have the filter where we can actually filter by categories. Now let's say for instance I do not need January or I don't need May. So all I have to do is to uncheck this and click on apply. Now May is no longer here. I've removed it. So if I need it back, I just click on it and then apply. It brings it back. So this is how we can now format this. Alright, so now let's see some other things we can actually do. Now we'll be moving over to the pivot chart. Now we're going to see how we can actually use the pivot chart on this. First, all we have to do now is to highlight them first. Highlight our charts. Good. Now after highlighting our charts, you just come straight to your insert. Then you see the pivot chart, you click on it. Now the first one is the table or the range. Now these are the table or the range. This is it. All of this here. So next, do we want this on a new worksheet or on existing worksheet? Okay, let's say I want it on a new worksheet. All I just do is to click on OK. Now this is it. With this, it actually allows us to filter also our axis, the legend, and the values. So how can we now insert our charts here? Now I'll just drag in the year. Let's say I want the year to be filtered. I'll put it here. Filter by year. Then also the product group. Let's say I want the product group under the legends. And this is it. These are the product groups. Then unitary costs, the axis. This is it. Or instead, let me just put it under the values. Now this is the unitary cost. And then lastly, unitary price. This is it. So now this is just our charts. Alright, I feel maybe I need to take this here too. Alright, now this is it. So this is how we can actually go about with the pivot chart fields. Now this is it right here with the pivot. So even with our pivot chart, we can also analyze our data in Excel. Alright, so I can simply close this or take it out. So this is how we can actually go about with our pivots in Excel. All right, one last thing. Let's go back there. Good. Now let's see how we can actually now use some other charts like the pie charts. Now, for instance, I want to change this. Like I said earlier, all you have to do now is click on it. You come to your chart design. You see the change chart type. You click on it. Now let's try using the pie chart. I'll just click on this. Then I can use any of this. So let's say I want to use this one. I just come click on OK. Now I just inserted this. Now looking at this, it's actually having all of the datas on it. Now this is 974, this is 160, 700, which is all of this right here. So like I said earlier, if you want to select a particular month or sales, you just have to highlight it, then you come right straight to your insert and insert for that data you highlighted. All right, so this is just how we can actually go about with our charts in Excel. There are so many Excel formulas, but in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you 5 main Excel formulas you should know. Now, what I'll be showing you is not only going to make your work faster, but it's also going to make your work easier. Alright then, so let's begin. First, what I'll be showing you guys is the string functions. Now, how can we use the string functions? We're having our data here. Now, all of these data I'll be using, if you wish to also use the same, you can download it in the description below. All right, so now this data here, I'll be putting in my equal to first. Now, if you want to start with any formula, you definitely need to use your equal to first. So I'll put in my equal to, then I'll use either left or right. Then I'll be using the left here, left. Now, if we want to select this, all we just have to do is to click on your tab on the keyboard, just click on it and this is it, pops out. Then what I'll be using next is this. I'll click on this and put in comma and then I click on 2. Now I'm using 2 because it's just having the address, the C and the T, which is just 2 alphabet. Now if I should add like 4 at the right, then it will be from here, it will be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So now I wish to use 2 at the left, that is this 2. Good. Then when you're done, you just hit your enter. Now this is it. I'm having CT. Now if I want for the rest of them, I just simply come here, click, hold and drag it down. Now I have for all of this. So like I said earlier, if you want to use the formulas we used before, this is it up here. The left, which is for this C and the T because they are the left hand side. But if you want the right, you can use it from here. Then you can also use mid, which is the middle. You can use mid. All right, then you click on or you highlight the parts you want to work on, then you put in your comma. Then if it's 2, you want to be selecting out of those datas, which is the C and T. That is why I used 2. I can just simply highlight it. So now this is how you can actually do this. Up next, we are going to be seeing how we can actually join our text together. Now we are going to be joining the first name and that of the last name. Now this is where we're going to be inserting it. So first, like I said earlier, what you have to do first is to put in your equal to. Now after putting it, I'll click on the first one, which is this. Then I put in the and sign. Then put in my quotation. All right, then I'll be adding the comma here now. Now this comma is actually going to be differentiating the first name and the last name. Then I'll close my quotation this time around and also put in the and sign. Then I click on the last name. Then I hit my enter. Now this is it. This is how you can join the first name and the last name. So if you want to do the same for the rest, you just click here and drag down. Now you're having 4 rest names. So this is how you can join text. Also, we are now going to be looking at the large and small functions. Now in my data here, I'm having my product and my sales. And these are all the products. Let's say a company, they sell all of this, and these are the sales they've had. Now we want to now rank the sales, which is the highest and which is the lowest. So let's see for the large, putting our equal to first, then we type in our large. Before we complete it, we can just simply click on our tab on the keyboard. Good. Then after doing this, you highlight all this part down, you put in your equal to, and then you highlight all of this. then you hit your enter. Good. Now we're having this. So we did the large. So this is actually the largest. Now, if we check it here, you see this? This is it here. So if you want to get the second and the third one, you just come right here, click and drag it down. Now, this is how you rank them. This is the highest, then this is the next, followed by this. So this is how you can actually go for the large. So if you want to go for the small function, you can do the same thing. Now, I'll be deleting all of this. Let's see how we can do that. Put in your equal to, then you put in small, click on your tab on your keyboard, you highlight all of this, put in your comma, and then you highlight these ones. Then hit enter. Now this is it. Now if you look at this here, you see that this is actually the smallest, which is this right here. Then if you need it to follow up, just click and drag it down. So this is how you can go about with the large and the small functions in Excel. Next, we have the sum ifs. Now, the sum if actually allows us to sum up our data if they are true. Now, I'm having social media here. I'm having the months and the sales. Now, I want to sum up the months, all the sales for the month of 5, for 5 months. So this is 5 and this is 5. So it's actually going to be helping me to sum up this and this together right here. So now how can we do that? Equal to, you put in your sum if. This is it here. Sum ifs, you insert it. Then we are going to be highlighting this first. Put in your comma, you highlight the next one, put in your comma, and then you click on the months you want to use. Now, if I should actually change this to 7, it's also going to change. Now, I'll be using 5. I just click on this here, and then I hit my enter. Now this is it. It actually summed it up. Now if I should come here and look at this, this is 5 and this is 5. Now let's try adding it up. This is 22 and this is 34, which is 56. This is it. So now if I should come here now, let's say for instance, I'll be changing this now to 7. It's going to change this one here. Now this is it. This is just 7. And look at it here, we're having just 7. Then if we should add 7 to this, it will also add it up here. It's going to be adding this right here. So this is how we can go about with our sum if in Excel. Finally, we have the index match. Now this index match is going to be giving us the sum of the product and on the month of June. Now this is our product shoe. In this here, we have our product, which is the shoe, and then the month of June, which is right here, June. So it should give us the sale for the month of June on shoes. All right, so now we are going to be using the index match, but we are going to be using it separately. We'll use the index first, then the match. All right, so what do we do first? We'll be putting in our equal to first, then we'll put type in index, click on your tab on your keyboard, then we're going to be highlighting all of this. Now I'll click here, I'll do Control Shift down, which is my arrow key, then I also do Control Shift right, which is also my arrow key. Then after putting this, we are now going to be typing in the match now. You put in your equal to first, then you type in match, click on your tab, your keyboard. Then we are going to be selecting the products, which is the shoe. You click on it. Then we put in our comma. Then we are going to be highlighting all of our products. Good. Then we also put in our comma. Then the exact match, which is 0. This is it here. I'll just be clicking on this. Good. Now I've inserted this. So we just close the brackets, they put in our comma. Then now we're going to be typing in match. Okay. Then the lookup value, which is this is lookup value. Then we put in a comma. Then the lookup array. This is it, a lookup array. We'll come up here and highlight all of this, which is the lookup array. Then we'll put in our comma and then the exact match. This is the exact match here. I'll put in this. Then I'll close my bracket for the first one and close it for the second one. Then this is just the formula. So you can actually follow this formula step by step. So then I just hit in my enter. Good. Now this is it. So I just got the sale for the month of June on the shoes. Now let's check if this is actually correct. We're going to go to the month of June. This is it here. the month of June, and then the product shoe, which is this. So now this is 141055, which is this right here. So let's say for instance we want to now change this to, let's see, December. Now it's actually going to be changing this to December. This is it for the shoe. We can also do the same thing here by changing this for instance to laptop, and this is it. It's also going to change it. So these are just all the formulas we have discussed today. All right, so I know you must have learned a lot from this. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button and also continue to share this video so as others can also enjoy what you do.